Hi guys, it's Emily and Hannah here from the Training Barn. Happy New Year. We hope you're excited about 2023. We've got loads of stuff for this year. First things first is we're going to talk about commercial photography and how we've integrated that into our businesses over the last 20 years. So, Hannah.
20 years,
Yes.
20 years each as well, that's scary.
How have you integrated commercial photography into your business?
Well, I saw the gap in my business for regular work. When I was doing my event work and behind the scenes, I knew that with those images I'd already taken and I was supplying to the sponsors of my rider and my rider, there was just another, I'm leaving stuff on the table basically. So I started contacting brands and magazines to fulfill just another pot of money into my business. So once I worked out that existing images can be sold again, it was just another revenue of income into my business, which was wonderful. How about yourself?
So I have over the years used stock libraries quite a lot. So not just for equine photography, but portraiture, detail shots from weddings, all sorts of imagery, and consistently uploaded them to specific stock libraries that just earn me royalties on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
So that's been a really good one. Also sold lots of images to book publishers, magazines. Specifically, I don't know whether you can see the shot behind, that's sold time and time again to commercial.
So you're just selling a license every time that image sells, you're selling a license to use that image for a specific period of time, or
absolutely. It might just be 300 quid there, 300 quid there, but actually over time, that adds up to a lot of money.
Yeah, and I think what's so interesting is, most of our portrait work is not going to be sold on to a third party because it's containing someone's face in it, and no one's going to be more interested in their own portrait than themselves. However, the work that we do, taking beautiful headshots or even some ridden shots when we're doing something creative, there's always a pile of images that are too good to just sit on a hard drive. And one of the things Emily and I have done over our, I'm going to say 17 years, I'm going to shave 3 years off that. We've created a very strong database of people, be it magazine publishers and editors, be it sponsored, brands who I'm in touch with their PR department or their image buying department. And when certain images come through, I know that that image can be sold on to those sort of people. But you need to spend some time researching. And I think that's where a lot of people may go wrong, is that they put a library of images up on the back end of their website and do a bit of AdWords advertising or Facebook advertising, and then wonder why flurries of people aren't coming on and buying what we know as a stock image. Whereas for example, I've worked with Land Rover quite a few times, and they will come to me with a brief. So they will say, we're looking for, the last one was they were looking for near misses. So they were looking for cross-country jumps that the rider or the horse had made a mistake, but had corrected it. So there was no fall, it was nothing nasty, it didn't look horrible, but it was about being that extra elite sportsman, but showing the nitty gritty of cross country. And of course I've got 4,000 cross country images, but some of them contained, leaving that leg behind or whatever. But you need to have the contact so that they ring you and say, Hannah, have you got this image? Can you send us a gallery that we might be interested in? They're going to spend £300, £400, £500 per image. Sometimes it's in print, sometimes it's digital, but you need to have the database first and a trusted relationship.
I think the important thing, though, particularly in this climate, in terms of economic climate, is that diversifying is key. Going forward, although Hannah and I have always promoted ourselves as portrait photographers, we in fact do commercial work, and we do have other revenue streams coming into the business to help prop up any quiet times. And we all know there's seasonal dips and peaks with portrait photography.
Also, you can only be as creative as you can be. It is hard to do, say you're doing 3 creative shoots a week, 3 portrait shoots a week. Your third one's always going to be slightly tired, slightly at the end of your creative eyes, you know. Whereas actually, if you fill the third one with doing a commercial shoot, which you know, if it's a clothing brand and they give you 5 outfits and you've got a nice dressage yard and a nice dressage horse and a nice rider to work with, it's bish bosh bang. You edit the images, you send them the entire gallery, you get paid a decent whack. So Emily and I do try and work on the maximum of 1 shoot a week, portrait wise, but we probably have always done.
I mean maximum. Yeah.
Maximum. I mean that's height of that's height of the season.
That's Bring that down to like 6 months.
But we have always filled our diary with commercial shoots, brand shoots, product shoots,
but not really advertise them. Not really actively going to get them, but through the nature of business and networking, you know, people come to you and ask if you could do it, and you think, okay, well, actually, for a day rate,
I can put it in here.
And that sort of leads nicely on to the benefits of commercial photography. So you get paid up front.
It's a higher upfront fee as well than session fee.
It's regular work.
Yep. They can book you every 3 months. You can add more revenue as well by licensing your images. So, for example, you could do a 4-hour shoot on a yard for a dressage rider, morning in the life of a dressage rider, and I'm just going to pick a figure out of the air. It's £1,000 for the shoot, and it includes all images edited into colour. And they have the right to use those images in digital format only, which means only for their website, for their blog, for their social media. If they then wanted to use those images in printed material, or they wanted to send those images for an interview into a magazine, they would purchase the rights later. So even though you've done a photo shoot with a client, you need to stay in touch with them and make sure you're nurturing the licenses that are available. Other clients I work with want an all-in. They don't want to be fussed with whether it's used in the Telegraph or whether it's used in a field and sport magazine or whether it's used on their website. But then they would pay a much higher daily rate because then they can use the images forever, and the only thing they can't use it for is a billboard, because we always retain the license for a billboard. But if you join us on the course, you'll find out all about that.
So that's another benefit, isn't it? That
the upsell,
of licensing beyond your initial shoot fee. And another benefit, I'm just trying to think because it keeps going out my head, is that it does actually lead really nicely on to portrait clients.
Yes.
Quite often the owner of an equine business will have their own horses, their own family, and
their own circle of love.
And then that will lead on nicely to that. So
and PR and marketing. You know, I've had images on the stand of Portraiture that have been portrait shoots of their sponsored rider. So they didn't just want a show jumping image. They wanted a beautiful portrait of their rider, which was then framed. So that's the shoot's paid for, the frame is paid for, and then I get free advertising or marketing because my image is then prominent on their stand of a well-known and respected brand. The same for Land Rover. They had images printed up in the VIP tent at Burley. You know, the lovely thing about commercial photography, there's endless ideas and opportunities. And I feel like commercial is much more tangible because you can genuinely pick up the phone to your local tack shop, start there. You don't have to be ringing Land Rover and Portraiture and these sort of clients. You can start with your local tack shop and you can offer them half a day shoot. I will shoot your lovely tack shop, go around the inside, let me photograph your top 3 clients that have been your best clients all year, and then maybe you could offer something through the tack shop afterwards, so your top 3 clients get a free photo shoot with you. The possibilities are endless with commercial photography.
Do you know what though? Just sitting there listening to you say all that, Hannah's making it sound incredibly easy.
Oh, so easy!
But there is quite a few moving parts to it, and one of the reasons for us putting on the commercial course, firstly, we ran the commercial course last year in 2022, the first ever of its kind, and it was a huge success. But as we were putting the course together, we realised how many moving parts there are. You know, how do you price yourself? How do you set your licensing fees? How do you go about impressing a magazine? How do you
saying the right thing?
Yeah, how do you connect with them? Who do you connect with? How do you get your commercial business, albeit it might be only 10 or 20% of your overall business, but how do you get that section up and running and going, and you feeling confident? Not to mention model releases, and
you also need to know how to shoot.
Absolutely,
because it's not the same. But it's not the same as a portrait shoot.
No.
You know, with a portrait shoot. So I would say the main difference between a portrait shoot and a commercial shoot is a portrait shoot you're pretty much in charge of creatively. Mm-hmm. You get to pick their outfits, you get to pick their location, their posing, how you like the subject. With a commercial shoot, you are given a brief, and you have to fulfill that brief and knock their socks off. So it might sound harder, but the brief keeps you on point. It doesn't allow your, you know, the creative block that can sometimes come with a portrait shoot. Well, the commercial is easier. You're given these 4 stables, these 2 horses, these 3 products and 1 person, and then you come up with a concept. You're also not trying to create 120 different images, feelings, emotions that come from a portrait shoot. You're creating a bucket of images that they can use to make them money. And that's the key. That's the thing you have to remember, is that your images make that client money, and that's why we can charge more for them. Even if it's one image that they've seen in your stock library and they say, yes, but it's my product, you're going to give it to me for free. Well, no, you're going to make money from my image, therefore I'm going to charge you £3,000.
The other thing I'd say is that so as an example, I've got a commercial shoot coming up next week that is nothing to do with an equine business, and the skills are incredibly transferable. So I know what to charge, how to shoot. It's just a small business that I can go in there for a few hours, get all the images I need, come back, edit them, send them off as high-res files, job done. And I know that I'm getting that fee, and that's going to cover my day's work and give me profit, and that feels very easy and nice to be able to have within my business. Because portrait shoots, you know, you've got that initial sale bit where you've got to do shows or market yourself online, XXX.
There's a lot of nurturing, isn't there?
And then the viewing, and then the ordering of products and all these things. So the reason we're so passionate about this is because honestly, the actual having commercial as part of your business is truly going to help you, like we said, in this economic climate, and moving forward this year and possibly into next year, is to just help prop your business up. And so if you're keen to get into commercial photography, we have got we're going to run the commercial course again for 2 days, back to back. It's on the 1st and 2nd of March. There are limited spaces available. And we're going to be covering everything commercial, you know, licensing.
How to grow that database, find new leads, find the perfect client that's going to come into your business and value what you're doing, because that's really important.
We've got 2 photo shoots booked, one product base and the other one it's yard base. So take it from start to finish on every one of those as well, because you need to know how to set up for styling. The other thing you can do as well is that a lot of photographers get quite worried about working with other professionals. It does feel nicer to connect with someone who's just got a horse, whereas to connect with a business can feel slightly intimidating. But the other side of that is, if you've got a nice little circle of
let's say country looking ladies and gentlemen with a nice country location, good looking horse, and they're happy to sign a full model release, there's no reason you can't photograph them sat on the back of their Land Rover, having a glass of port, chatting away to their horse, wearing their hunting gear with a hunting crop on their leg, and you can sell that image. So you haven't had to be commissioned for the shoot. You can sell that image to a country magazine, a equestrian magazine, whatever it might be.
And we're going to tell you how to do that.
Oh, okay, I will.
no, but that's a good point, because when we're talking about commercial photography, we're not necessarily
commission-based.
Not necessarily talking about commission-based. It is stuff you can produce.
Woody's had enough.
Yeah, without being directly commissioned. So you can produce images that you can then sell as commercial images.
Which, if you're looking to grow your confidence into the commercial, actually in the photography industry, it's actually a really nice place to. I did it with eventing. I was always really nervous about connecting with big brands or big riders. So I would start much smaller. So I'd start with a small brand, and suddenly they were commissioning me or sending me out to, Mary King, William Fox Pitt, Harry Mead, all of these riders. And it's a much nicer way of getting to know the riders that, listen, you have to do this because they're paying you to have these photos taken, and I have to do this because, and then suddenly Mary King likes what you do, connects with you privately, and then you're photographing her and her daughter for a private shoot. There's so many avenues with commercial but the start of it can be a confidence builder, and then the sky's the limit.
So, 1st and 2nd of March, it's £1,200 for the 2 days. Most of our delegates will come down the night before, stay in a local hotel or Premier Inn, or there's lots of accommodation around, and then come in and have 2 full days with us and a group of other like-minded creative photographers, and
the best lunches in the world.
Best lunches in the world.
Obviously.
Yes.
Great snacks throughout. What's really nice, you have full access to us between 9:30 and 4, not all day. Between 9:30 and 4, that every time you come up with maybe a stumbling block for you, it might be a confidence thing, it might be that's all right for you. I mean, we've heard it before. We've had lots of people that said, well, it's all right for you, you're Hannah Freeland or you're Emily Hancock, it's easy for you. We all started somewhere, and we all had to pick up the phone the first time. We all had to go through a rejection, we all had to go through a shoot that didn't hit the brief, so you had to reshoot it. But we're here fully accessible to ask all those questions, and we will basically allow you to jump 3 years of trial and error.
Let's call it 5.
5 years of trial and error. Learn from all our mistakes.
But we'll also give you a blueprint, A to Z, where you need to start, what you need to get in place in your business to then be able to confidently go out and either shoot and be producing images that can sell, and how to do that, or to go out and be commissioned, or both, and to basically start feeding your business with an extra income stream.
And remember, you'll also walk away with images from 2 photo shoots. Which you can add to a portfolio on your website to sell more commercial shoots. Bish bosh bang, guys.
Bish bosh bang. So 1st and 2nd of March, £1,200. Book your space now. Contact the Training Barn.
info@trainingbarn.uk. No, there'll be a link below. When Josh puts it there on booking your space, but we do have a limited space because, as beautiful and lovely as our studio is, it's not containing huge amount of numbers of delegates. So if you are interested in getting 2023 off with a bang, join us.
Book now. Bye.